This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
I'm Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk. We got a whole hour packed with all the stuff you need to know to kind of keep going and rocking and rolling with today's talk, and of course, what you'll be talking about tomorrow.
And we like to make you a big part of our show, and the way we do that is with this guy right here, James Alexander, our social media guru.
Yes, as you know, we're seeing over 219 stations across the U.S. and the American Forces Network, so you can catch us overseas as well. But we want to see you go and like and subscribe our social media channels, our Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and all that great stuff. We also want to hear your comments too. You know, you can send me an email and tell me how great Mitch looks at flash@dailyflashshow.com, or our website where you can click on where to watch and, you know, at dailyflashshow.com. Just have some fun with us. We want to see you. We want to talk to you.
We've got that giant sound off button on the website, and that makes a huge difference.
That's it.
Yeah, so be a part of it. Okay, you guys, there is a new trend in the implant world of breast augmentation and BBLs, the Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, BBL.
It involves using fat from cadavers as filler. Here's Dr. Joseph Hadid to explain.
Alloclay is a new product on the market that actually uses cadaver fat. Whoa, you're putting dead people's fat in me? Well, time out here. All the genetic material has been removed from the fat, and it has been ultra processed. There's absolutely no risk of catching any diseases, but it's actually the structural scaffolding that we're harvesting from the cadaver fat, and it has growth factors in it, which we call the extracellular matrix. So your body's own fatty tissues will grow into the scaffolding. Think of it like a 3D honeycomb. So we put it into your body's own tissues will grow into it, you'll generate new fat, and voila, you can actually have a BBL without undergoing surgery.
Okay. All right. You're going to do that. I'm concerned of them taking DNA and then taking DNA out of it. You know, when science is involved, there's chemicals, obviously, that have to be added to this, right?
Yeah,
Am I right
there should be some serious risks involved.
I mean, there are. I mean, he talked about a couple of them. He talked about the disease transmission and so on and so forth. There's also immune rejection. Right, that could happen. Ethical and religious concerns, you know, everybody has those. But I'm going to tell you now, fat has memory. Did you know that?
I didn't know
So
that.
fat can remember stuff?
Right, not like, you know, our memories for the brain and so on and so forth, but your DNA. So when you're like swapping spit in this case,
Swap fat.
with a cadaver,
Yes.
you swap
do that
fat. Yeah, but you know, your fat remembers when to turn off and turn on genes in your DNA. So if you're putting somebody else's fat in you,
You're saying it's got a different DNA genetic code that could talk differently to your cells.
that's it.
Like if you think about blood, I mean, blood's the same way. O positive, O negative,
There you
B,
go.
A, yada yada. You wouldn't want to put that inside your body if it's not compatible to it. Obviously, the doctors feel that they can do this. I just don't think it's. I don't want dead people up in there.
Well, alloclay, this specific type, is considered off-the-shelf fat. That's what
Right.
they're calling it. It's ideal for people who don't have enough fat or don't want to use their own fat for fillers, boob jobs, BBLs. They say the fat is sterilized from the cadaver donor. And think of it, Mitch, as you mentioned, it's donated tissue. It's gifted in kind. If we're willing to take an organ donation, then is fat really any different?
That's a good point. Okay.
I mean, what part of the body is not being used nowadays?
Well, we're all about recycling.
Here's the thing. Listen, you lived a great life. You did all you could in your life to make sure that you were a good person. Maybe you were highly successful. You were this business person that stays up, and then you die, and then you find out that the fat that you had is going to be in Kim Kardashian's.
Is that such a bad thing?
She
That's
may
the
get
best
smarter.
case scenario.
She may actually pass her bar exam now.
Exactly. Possibly with the DNA in it. But I mean, would you want to know, like, wow, I'm making somebody's butt look better, you know, that sort of thing? If you, I'm all for it. If you want to go do it, that's fine. It's still, I would want it from my own body, obviously, to make it better. Take it from my butt and put it in my head, wherever I got to, you know, I want the ingestion. But the chemicals are what bother me. Is they say they take the DNA out. What else are they taking out? And how do they know that this is actually safe?
Yeah, the way he described it as if they're creating a honeycomb with the fat and any sort of disease or DNA is
more
removed
honeycomb
from
cereal
it.
now.
But I don't know. I mean, I just always feel that there's a huge risk involved anytime you try and alter your body. Can't you be happy with the body you have?
But we were talking about a little bit earlier too in the break about people remembering things who have transplants.
Yeah,
How
like
they have
organ
that-
donations.
Yeah, how they have that taste for things they didn't have before.
Yes.
So and we know that can happen. I want to get to know the person. Maybe take her out. Oh no, she's dead.
James.
And it could be a guy. I mean, that's the thing. You don't know
Yeah.
where it came from.
That
I
is
mean,
true.
and there's a lot of, I know, like when, I think we were talking during the break about like, all right, when you're born as a baby, all the stuff that comes out of you
Yeah.
could actually be reused somewhere along the lines, and sometimes it is because it's full of protein and collagen and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
People cook it. We
Yeah,
know
and cook-
actors
yes.
do.
They
Right.
do.
So, is that going to change the way we do? It's like, all right, my baby's born. I want to keep all his stuff here so I can use it later. I don't know.
Is there, and I'm assuming there's storage, and of course that's a whole
There is,
business in and of itself where
Yeah.
they're charging you rent for 30 years
And
to
in
store.
fact, when James and Skylar were born, we actually we sent theirs to Duke.
oh,
The
really?
placenta to Duke.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
they do
donated
that.
it.
So you donated it so someone else could use it.
So somebody else can use it. But
Really?
we should have kept it just in case
Just in
because of
case.
stem cells and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. We should have kept it.
We should mention these procedures start at $10,000, and that's just for something small. I mean, really, when you think about it, it's ideal for people who have sagging skin. They want to return some definition to their hips, their backsides, maybe their pecs. It's for both men and women. If you're going for the BBL or the breast implant, it involves a lot more, and you could be paying up to $50,000, $60,000. People are saying they're getting great results from this, and it's not something that they have to go back and redo 6 months later or 2 years later.
The alternative is to take it from your own body, I guess.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you don't have enough fat
But-
on your body, but
Yeah, which I understand. Then,
Yeah.
like, okay, it means you're very skinny and you want to obviously maybe have, a lot of times, I guess, in the face fillers and that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
guess that sort of thing.
But I mean, with but see, so here's what's the dangerous side of this? Because with BBLs, if when they do the fat transfer, it could get into your veins and it can cause heart attacks, or you could possibly, aspire.
I would wait. This is really
Pass
new
away.
technology.
Yeah.
Just what freaks me out about a lot of this is hearing the words, we take the DNA out of it. And I mean,
Right?
I know you can spin stuff around and stuff flies out or whatever, but there's got to be some kind of chemical they're putting in there to kill it or do something with it. I don't know. It's way above my head. And I guess that's why it costs $15,000 to do this. But people had no problems with. I remember when my knee injuries. I'm sure you had. The first thing they say is we can put a cadaver part into your knee, so
Yeah.
your knee's going to be better. So people put that. You have no problem putting dead people inside them.
right. So is fat any different? Are either of you guys organ donors?
I'm not, because
No.
I will wake up on my deathbed
I
with a
know.
knife. I've had this conversation with you guys.
Yeah.
With a knife going towards my eye. I can't do it. I want to be that, and I think
Yes.
I'm very honorable.
Wonderful,
I can't
right?
do it. But
And, I'll be honest with you, in my community, being organ donors, we're not big on organ donation, right? So, honestly, it's that fear of not being able to wake up, like
That's
you said.
right, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, you could have saved me, but now you're breaking me down for parts. So,
Right.
I'll
I'm not
probably
an
get hate
organ
mail.
donor.
I'm not hating against it. I mean,
Right,
if
me
you can
either,
do
me
it,
either.
maybe
Just for
one
you
day I can
personally.
change it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing.
Are you? Or?
No, I'm not either. But I have the same kind of fear of like,
think it's
or if you believe in reincarnation, if you give up your eyes in this one, do you
Yeah.
come back? Are you born blind in the next one? I know it's completely
That's what
far
I'm
out.
saying.
It's totally far out.
Just
But
know-
these are just things you think about.
Maybe the next Stevie Wonder.
About your body being harvested.
It really, and then this is only for cosmetic to make. I'm sure there's some medical where it betters somebody's life, but
Sure.
it's really just cosmetic. It sounds
That's
like
it.
what they're going to be using it for.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other practical reasons, but to me, to know like I've given this whole life to where I'm just going to wind up in someone's ass, man, it's not intriguing me at all.
No.
It's the back end of life, man.
It
Back
sure
end of
is.
life.
Hey, what's wrong with that? I lived next to an eye surgeon when I was out in California in San Diego, and he, I kid you not, would get deliveries of ice coolers to his front door, and they were eyeballs.
Eyeballs.
They were eyeballs.
Just for him
to be transferred.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean,
For
yeah.
transplants and that
For
sort of thing.
transplants, yes. For
Can
transplants.
you get him to deliver some for ours, and we can have eyeballs on this show?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I just want to see
Maybe we
something.
can see the prompter. a
all
little
these
bit better.
new
Yeah.
viewers. if you will.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
that.
right. We got more Flash coming up here. We're going to talk about clean eating coming up. We got somebody who's actually just changed their life with autoimmune disease and said, here's some easy ways you can be able to do that. Plus, we got, of course, an 80s remake coming out in our must-watch. We'll tell you what that is.
Yep, but before we head to break, here's today's Brain Flash question for you. What is the only number that has the same number of letters as its value?
Ooh.
We'll have the answer right after this when we return with more of today's trends, tomorrow's talk. You're watching Daily Flash.
Hey, welcome back to the big show. Before we went to break, we asked you our Brain Flash question of the day, and that is, what is the only number that has the same number of letters as its value? And you're going through the numbers, and then you get to 4, because that's the answer. F-O-U-R, 4 letters. How about that? We hope that you're rocking and rolling through this new year. Our next guest, Brooke Schwartz, she's actually a busy third-year law student. She's also managing an autoimmune disease. Now, all of these life experiences, she also kind of developed a passion for quick and easy nutrient-dense cooking, which is something I think we all need. She joins us now from her home in Long Island, New York, with some clean eating tips. Brooke, welcome to Daily Flash. We're glad to have you here. This is something that first part of the year we're always here talking about. It's about eating healthy, and generally we think salads and that sort of thing, but you actually have laid out 5 clean eating tips for everybody out there that are actually going to get us on track for this new year. Let's start off with the first one. You say that right when we start the day, we start it with what?
Yeah, so I start every single morning with a cup of hot water with lemon and sea salt.
Okay.
And then I follow that up with a celery juice. And then after that, I move on to a almond milk matcha tea latte, which I'll add collagen to. And essentially what I'm trying to do here is just start every single morning feeling hydrated rather than fueling my body with caffeine.
Okay.
And it is a really nice start to the day.
You know, there has been, there's some talk out there. People say, you know, the whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and we think we have to have this huge breakfast, and it's kind of, we grew up that way. It sounds like, though, that's a little bit different than what you're doing. It's just hydrating ourselves the first thing. Why is it important to make sure that we hydrate ourselves the very start before we eat anything?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely do believe in a good healthy breakfast as well. But for me, I found that I feel the most energized by starting my day feeling very hydrated and starting with that warm lemon water with the sea salt in there. That definitely energizes me along with the celery juice.
Okay.
So I think that I've just found personally that throughout the day, I feel a more sustained energy by really getting my water in and feeling hydrated.
So it's a matter of just getting hydrated, not necessarily getting the full amount of nutrients you would with a breakfast, but basically since it's the first thing, this kind of gets you energized, and if you're more energized, you'll probably eat better. Okay, I get what you're saying now.
Right, it's the alternative to chugging a coffee first thing in the morning.
I totally agree. I'm not sure if I can... I gotta have mine. I'm kidding with you. Your next tip, you're talking about the color wheel, and we should have 3 different colors at every meal. Tell me about this. This is fascinating.
Yeah, so I found that by counting colors on a plate, this is really an easy way to ensure that you're having a balanced meal. So here's an example of a colorful plate that I would eat for dinner. So I think that by incorporating these different colors in a meal, first of all, it's beautiful and aesthetically pleasing, but second of all, every single vegetable and every food has different nutritional benefits. And by ensuring that you're having all these different colors on a plate, you're likely maximizing these benefits, which is great.
That makes a lot of sense. And also makes for better Instagram pictures, am I right?
It certainly does for me.
So you got to keep that in mind. Yeah, you want it to look good because our eyes see the food before our lips do. So let's make sure it looks delicious. And by the way, great job on that. That looks fantastic. All right, this next tip I like. However, we have to understand what the definition of a sweet treat is. And you're saying make a sweet treat for the week. Are you talking about like a nice big healthy cake or what?
Yeah, so I certainly have a sweet tooth, and I found it helpful that I have something in my apartment or in my house that I can eat that's healthy, but still satisfies my cravings. So sometimes I'll make a big apple crisp for the week, which is a really easy recipe. Sometimes I'll do something like a peanut butter protein ball. So it really depends on the week what I choose to do. I would say the apple berry crisp is probably one of my favorites and super easy to make. So I find that it's just nice to have something around that I can eat when I'm craving something sweet rather than reaching for something processed.
To augment a little bit of that, if it's there already made for you, and especially when we have those cravings, I don't know if you get them, like I want something sweet, I can get a candy bar or whatever, but if I know that I've made something that's gonna be kind of cure that, and it's not gonna be too terribly bad for me, if I make it at the beginning of the week, it can last the entire week. I can go in there and grab it. I think that's a fantastic idea. Love it.
Absolutely.
Okay, getting creative in the kitchen is very important. Sometimes you hit a wall. You say, think about your favorite restaurant and your favorite meal there and make it at home. Is that really feasible?
I found that it is. I started doing this in college, and I found that it's obviously more cost effective to do this. And it is usually healthier because you have more control over what you're putting in your food. You know what you're adding to it. And I also find it fun and challenging to force yourself to think outside the box and try to make something that you would have just ordered in. I think that this is a nice exercise and it's definitely feasible. And you could start easy and then work your way up to something more challenging.
It makes a lot of sense. Finally, you say incorporate more herbs into your diet. Is that starting? Is that a difficult thing to do? By the way, look at that layout. That's great. What are you talking about as far as that goes?
No, not at all difficult. I think that incorporating herbs into your diet is a great way to add more green into what you're eating. And for me, I like to do this by adding them to a salad dressing, just throwing them in the blender with some olive oil, lemon juice, vinegar, whatever you like. Chopping them up and adding them to any sauce that you're eating. Really just throwing them into anything. They're so flavorful and they have their own health benefits. So it's a really easy way to get your greens in.
I agree. You need another job of making presentation of food. You did a fantastic job there. Great tips too.
Thank you.
I really love these, Brooke. These are great. Now, if you want to find out some more clean eating tips, very easy, some recipe ideas, follow Brooke. She is on Instagram at brooke.clean.eats. We'll have this interview on our website as well at dailyflashshow.com. Eat healthy. You got to have one body. That's all they give you. And we're glad that your body's sitting in front of the TV watching us. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't y'all go anywhere. Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It is Thursday. That means it's time for us to check in with Tony Toscado to find out what's coming out of Hollywood and straight to your screen, no matter what size you're going to watch it on. With the latest, here's Tony.
Thanks, Mitch. Streaming on Prime is the holiday rom-com Merv.
I'll see you next week. I love you, bud.
Merv, are you okay?
Don't want to play fetch. Don't want cuddles.
Dogs are very sensitive to anything that throws their routine, like a breakup.
You think love is the prince because we broke off?
When their beloved dog Merv loses his spark after their split, a former couple is forced into the world's most awkward co-parenting arrangement. Along with Zooey Deschanel and Charlie Cox, the film stars Patricia Heaton and David Hunt.
Well, it'd be nice if they just, if everyone turned to each other and gave each other a hug or, pass the hot chocolate or something. If it just starts a little conversation, that would be, I think, a great start, in my opinion.
I think it's a great way to kick off the holiday season with something that's bright and cheery and to get back to what Christmas is about, what the holidays are about, family being together, putting aside differences, being neighborly, being kind.
Merv is a fun, tender, and sweet little holiday film and a great diversion movie for the season. Again, it's streaming on Prime and gets a B. It's rated PG. Streaming on Starz is the action drama Spartacus, House of Asher.
A quickening pulse. The deafening roar of the ground.
Kill him!
And the bitter sting of blood in the air.
In this sequel series to Spartacus, Asher has clawed his way to power and ignites a new kind of spectacle that offends the elite.
All of a sudden you see him a little more vulnerable. You see Asher in a situation where he doesn't know what to do because it's coming from his heart, not his brain. And I love that vulnerability of it.
It's great to play that kind of character who's got all this power, and yet leads with his heart.
Yeah. So that was really nice. I really enjoyed that element very, very. I'm just lucky, man. I'm very lucky to have this role and to get to a second chance to play it again. I'm just blessed.
Spartacus, House of Asher is a mediocre sword and sandal action series that never quite finds its footing, despite its great battle scenes and cinematography. Again, Spartacus, House of Asher is streaming on Starz and gets a C. It's rated TVMA. For the Daily Flash, I'm film critic Tony Toscano.
Thank you there, Tony. It's time now for us to jump into some daily digits. And just like the Bible, it has some really awesome, crazy stories. And just like the Bible, it has numbers in it as well, you heathens. All right, here's our first number this morning. It's 15. That's how many seconds of turbulence it took a British Airways transatlantic flight to seriously ruin 2 people's ankles. The plane hit sudden clear air turbulence over the North Atlantic, the kind that has no warning or no clouds. Flight attendant was just sitting down when the jolt lifted her up, back down, slammed her, broke her ankle. Another passenger ignored the seatbelt sign, walked down the aisle, was also broke his ankle because gravity loves a teachable moment. Doctors on board jumped in, improvised splints, and the pilot continued on to London with ambulance waiting at the gate. Everyone's expected to be fine, but those 15 seconds are going to be remembered for a very, very long time. You know, this is one of the very few times where passengers will have a gate change after they've completed their flight. You guys get that? It was a play on words. Gate. That's where you're walking. All right, moving forward. Our next one, 6.6. That's your next number. Guess what? That's how many gigawatts of nuclear power Meta is lining up to run its massive AI data centers. As artificial intelligence explodes, so does the need for nonstop electricity. And Meta has decided solar panels and good vibes just ain't going to cut it. So they're turning to nuclear power to keep servers humming around the clock without blowing out the grid or relying on fossil fuels. And we're talking about extending the life of existing reactors and building new generation of one, all to support AI systems that never sleep, never blink, and definitely never stop to ask for more power. So the bottom line is the future of your social feed may now be powered by the same stuff that lights up cities.
Wow.
And it turns out your Facebook memories are now basically running on uranium and unresolved issues as well. Keep that in mind, right? All right, Jackson, here's your last one. Final number, 6. That's the position pizza chains now hold in the United States restaurant categories, down from 2nd to 6th as coffee shops, Mexican eateries, and other fast food joints take a bigger bite of the dining market. For decades, pizza has become America's go-to quick dinner, cheap, filling, it's everywhere, right? Consumers are now being wooed by delivery apps offering endless alternatives and deals that make that $20 pie look like sticker shock when a $5 fast food combo comes along. It makes sense though, right, Andrea?
Yeah.
Because you can have anything delivered now, where pizza was pretty much how we got food from fast food to our house.
Yeah, the convenience of pizza. I'll still buy it. I love it. We're back right after this.
This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk. Before we do anything, let's check in with our stations across the nation. James Alexander, who is watching us out there and where?
Oh, yeah. 219 stations across the country and the American Forces Network across the globe. So you can watch us in Guam and all that good stuff, too. But you can also check us out on our social media channels. So Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and my favorite, Instagram. And guess what? Our local friends today.
Where at?
Is the famous KTVQ TV in Billings, Montana.
Billings, Montana.
Billings, Montana. All right, guys.
What do you got about that? I don't know much about Billings.
No, me neither.
Billy, what? There's so much.
I've driven through Montana.
You've driven through?
That's about it.
I'd love to drive through Montana.
So Billings is the largest city in Montana. The nearby rim rocks are sandstone cliffs over 500 feet tall. It's near the Yellowstone.
National Park?
Yep. And it sits along the Yellowstone River. So
It's amazing
you know,
you come up with all that right off the top of your head.
I know, man. You
Isn't it
know, thank you,
impressive?
chat.
GPT.
At least fake it, dude.
Yeah.
You can do one of these shapes. Yellowstone. You're gonna make it look like you know something about it.
Hey.
Like the TV
I love you,
show.
Billings. I love you.
Thank you.
Billings is cool.
Thank you,
I do want
Billings.
to check that out, Big Sky,
Yeah.
Montana. Thank you there, James. And of course, you are a big part of our show. We love hearing from you.
Yes.
Right now, it looks, as far as the political canvas goes, things are changing for sure.
Big
No
time.
longer is it left or right or Democrat and Republican. Now a record high 45% of U.S. adults of a recent survey say, it's from Gallup too, say that they recognize themselves as basically independents.
Right.
And it's actually breaking it down. The biggest part of it are mainly half of Gen Z and millennials. They're now landing in that independent column. And more are coming along with it, realizing that, you know, I like what this person, this group has to say, but I don't like them. But I think it really comes down to, actually, this is, by the way, should I say, highest share since 1988. And if you remember, Ross Perot was right around that time, and how close he got to the presidency as well. And obviously, no surprise here that many of those that are calling themselves independent still lean towards one party or another. And half of those, it goes right down the line. 27% of that 45% identify as Democrats, whereas 27% as well basically say they're Republicans, but they're basically, listen, I'm independent. I think a lot of it comes down to because of the persecution that you get no matter what. And you're almost afraid to say how you might feel because you go, you know, there might be this part of what this party kind of represents that I believe in, but if I say anything, everybody thinks that's what I am. And that's not the case. And obviously, I think we should all be more independent. We should be looking at both sides and voting the right person, maybe not the right party.
Yeah, I'm a conservative independent. I'm not afraid to say it.
That's good.
I think what happened, and for the Democratic Party to know, I've opened myself up and researched my own on my own to make sure that I'm doing what's in the best interest, not only of myself, but for the country.
Yeah.
So for me, being independent means a lot because I'm not siding on one side. I mean, one side may have some great ideas. This side may have some great ideas. But at the end of the day, is it in the best interest of the country? Is it in my best interest?
Vote your conscience is what it comes.
You have to.
You do. But I think on the larger scale, there has to be a conversation that can be had on both sides. And it seems like one side is like my way or the highway. And if you don't agree with what I say, then I don't want to listen to you. And I think that's ridiculous. And I think that was what Charlie Kirk really was trying to say. We've got to have conversations. We have to have dialogue. You know, we have to exchange ideas. I might not like your idea, but at least I'll listen to you and kind of understand where you came up with that idea.
I'm guilty of this. I'm sure people at home as well. You listen to somebody, you're like, oh, I like what he says. I like. He must be what my party is. And then they might say something that might be slightly off, and you go, oh, no, okay, he must be the other side. And that really, I should be listening to what the person that says and taking those blinders off. More people need to do it. Let us know your thoughts. Why do you think there is such a big push now just to be independent? And could a third party actually be relevant in this day and age?
Yeah.
Possibly so. We're going to tell you how you can get your very own castle coming up on Daily Flash.
Also much watched, The Burbs, an 80s remake. We'll tell you all about it when we return. Stay with us. We're back right after this.
Air, land, and sea, this is Flash Travel. You know, many travelers say they want something new when it comes to vacations without sacrificing comfort or convenience. Makes sense. A lesser-known destination in the Caribbean is starting to check all the right boxes. Check this out.
A new Caribbean destination is starting to gain attention as travelers plan their 2026 getaways. Niches, a hidden gem on the northeast coast of the Dominican Republic, is becoming a top pick for those who want something new, elevated, and surprisingly accessible. Jackie Marks, Global Head of Trade Brands at Apple Vacations, has more.
Nestled between the rainforest and the sea, Niches is a pristine escape still waiting to be discovered. The new all-inclusive resorts like Secrets Playa Esmeralda and Dreams Playa Esmeralda are designed with sustainability in mind and made for true relaxation.
Research shows nearly 7 in 10 travelers plan to take a trip in the next few months, and more people are turning to advisors to help them get the best experience.
A travel advisor is the smartest way to discover new places like Niches. They know how to match you with the perfect hotel to tailor every detail of your interests and uncover exceptional value without compromise.
To learn more or connect with a trusted advisor, visit traveladvisorsgetyouThere.com.
By the time most kids are tackling multiplication tables, Wilder McGraw had already seen all 7 continents, including a recent trip to Antarctica. The milestone wasn't part of a color-coded parenting master plan. It was actually an accident that snowballed into a family quest. The light bulb moment came when Wilder was 5 years old. His parents tallied the places they'd been with their son ahead of a trip to South America. That's when they realized he'd already visited 5 continents.
Wow.
Wilder's passport got its first stamp when he was just 8 weeks old with a family trip to Portugal.
That's cool. You know, and I feel that that's one of the best things you can give your
Yes.
kid is an experience to see the world. You know, oh, I've seen this, I've seen that. I mean, and taking a child somewhere or a person that has not been there, it's totally different than a place that you've been through several times, or they might have been there as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents who like to travel say it's the best form of education for their kids and experience, because you get to see what other cultures are like, try different foods, and oftentimes kids that travel a lot have a different palate for foods. They're not chicken fingers and French fries. Nothing wrong with chicken fingers and French fries. However, they develop a different palate.
And also, I think, you know, as our parents said, there's starving kids in Africa, or, you know, there's some kids that don't even have a computer.
Yeah.
And you can kind of actually see, we weren't joking when you do that. But to say that you've seen the world and have, at a younger age, I'm extremely envious of people like that.
My concern, though, is like at 5 years old, do you remember it? Do you know?
Probably not
Probably
as much,
not.
yeah. You remember probably the long flight and everything that goes around it as well. Good travel story there still. Passengers already feeling that fallout from an airline scaling back on seating space. You know what I'm talking about. Case in point, a pair of WestJet passengers say the seats in front of them were over their knees. Look at that. The Canadian carrier's fixed recline design in its new plane prevents passengers from leaning their seats back unless they pay extra for it. The video from this couple's daughter shows the pair struggling to get comfortable in a space so tight that their legs extend underneath the seats in front of them, something I never have to worry about.
That just looks
I don't.
uncomfortable. I can't believe they would allow these passengers to fly like that. I just don't understand it. That's ridiculous.
I know it is. You know, that my knees would probably have to go in. That's really, really close.
That's too close.
When you put your phone up there to watch TV or whatever, it's a little easier because it's not as far away. I always find myself pulling down the tray and pushing my laptop or my iPad closer to me. Anyway, you're right up next to that person. That means somebody's bad breath is down your neck, man.
Well, at that point, I'm all for the standing air flight travel.
Might as well.
I mean, you might as well just stand at that point.
Hey, check out our website. It's flashtraveltv.com to find out more. We got more Daily Flash coming up after this. Don't go anywhere. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It is one of the biggest industry events of the new year. CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. More than 4,500 exhibitors showcase their latest and greatest innovations. Lifestyle contributor Joanne Butler joins us with some of the hottest finds. Hey there, Joanne.
Let's start in the kitchen. The design world is just buzzing about LG's new Standard Depth Max. This is a 4-door French door fridge that just takes entertaining to the next level. Look at this. It makes mini craft ice with dual ice makers for cubed or crushed ice from both the door and the freezer, and it has tons of room. The inside is actually 29 cubic feet of storage, wide open shelving, which I love for storing large platters and baking sheets. You just pull them out when you need them. Also, there's a drawer that has 5 temp settings, so you can easily shift between the fridge or freezer mode for wine and cheeses or frozen foods. It also helps maintain consistent temperatures for food to keep it fresher and tasting its best. So a real foodie lover's dream here. And of course, it's gorgeous. It has adjustable LED back wall lighting. It's also kid-proof, little pocket handles with soft close hinges. It's smudge and fingerprint resistant, which I love, and it's super smart. It has ThinQ connectivity for remote monitoring, voice assist, and it wins kudos for energy efficiency. Just the most primo fridge. Next up, a total showstopper. This is the LG 100-inch micro RGB 4K TV. It's gorgeous. It uses the smallest individual RGB LEDs ever to deliver this precision brightness, contrast, and color purity. So images appear more lifelike, more accurate, and more dimensional, edge to edge on this huge screen. Especially noticeable with HDR content and really complex color scenes. So sunsets, cityscapes, or cinematic shadow detail. Everything is just amazing and just pops even at this massive size. But it's ultra slim and it sits flush right against the wall. So it feels less like a TV and more like a beautiful piece of modern architecture. Of course, it's super smart too. It has LG's award-winning WebOS platform, so you can personalize your home screens and Voice ID. It recognizes who's watching, and AI picture and sound wizard that tunes everything to your personal preferences. Just a super smart but easy to use entertainment hub. Now, last but not least, let's talk travel. One of the coolest things I saw at CES was how tech company Oshkosh is reimagining how airports run. They showcased this fleet of super smart robots that actually assist ground crews right on the tarmac on all kinds of tasks, from guiding a plane to land to take off, and just numerous other things that are needed all day long under all kinds of weather conditions too, even bad weather. All AI driven, autonomous mobility. The idea is to boost safety, efficiency, and just a great example of how technology can help airports move travelers faster while maintaining the highest safety standards. Just incredible stuff there from Oshkosh.
Well, time for some trending stories now. If you like quiet, check out this home, sweet home.
I do.
It is located in Turkey and is made from dense materials that block noise from the outside. Double doors and heavy windows are sealed tightly, preventing gaps that could admit any kind of sound. The architect created this house as a case study to create the most quiet home for the most sensitive ears. He received recognition for his home's natural materials and for its unique acoustic qualities. He has ear sensitivity to the point where anything sounds 100 times louder than it really is. So this design allows him to kind of live a somewhat normal life away from the noise.
It looks like a lot of stone around there. It's what they use, a lot of probably cinder blocks too, kind of, and then of course insulation, that sort of thing. I knew somebody who made a home out of concrete, right? They made the forms and they put concrete.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy. And inside wasn't, glamorous, but it was the same concept. It was so quiet inside there, but damp and dark to me. But anyway, wouldn't you love to have a place? Because if you hear a creak, you know it's something big, because, that's the only bad thing about living in a very quiet house.
That is true.
It would be nice, though. That would be nice. Gorgeous looking house. The Las Vegas skyline look a full Jedi as Disney joined forces with Lego to transform the Sphere into an interactive Star Wars video game. The massive Exosphere featured a towering Lego Death Star blasting beams of light and Star Wars action into the desert sky. Fans could sit in a life-size Lego right outside of the venue. It's a cockpit and interact with the live game. The action was centered on the classic Death Star duel from the original 1977 film. It was projected onto the Sphere in real time across the 366-foot round screen. It's amazing what they can do at that thing. I didn't see actually this, but they were, I guess, prepping for it, and they had some really cool Star Wars stuff up there when I was out there for CES. But I would have loved to see what they're talking about.
Have you gone to a show there yet?
No. This close though, Jackson. Just a few. We got there to get signed up to get in there. They were going to do one of the presentations in there, and then Gwen Stefani was going to perform afterwards. We got in too late. So next year.
Next year. Okay. A British war veteran who lost both his legs in Afghanistan has become the first double amputee to reach the highest peak on every continent in the world. This is a fantastic story. The 46-year-old mountaineer just finished his trek in Antarctica. It was the final peak on his checklist. His most recent achievement meant to inspire others to climb their own mountain, whatever that might be.
That means we have no excuse. When you see this is so, really motivating.
Yes.
And to see, nobody's going to stop you. I think the biggest time I realized this, it was a man that was blind. So he got to the top, and he was able to see it,
Right. But he could feel
still
it.
did it. He could feel it. I mean, there's no excuses that we can't do anything. And the human, just having that human drive to finish something is obviously alive in that story. I love that.
That's great. Well, speaking of stunning and amazing, we've got a castle that recently hit the market. It's located in the southeastern region of France. The castle features about 100 rooms, plus courtyards, terraces, olive groves, and a helipad. Location has over 53,000 square feet of living space, nearly 40 acres of land. Interested buyers will need an impressive portfolio because the property is listed for $17 million and change.
Holy cow.
Celebrities including George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and George Lucas all own properties in the region.
So they're your neighbors, basically. Clooney's going to live down the road from you. You know, and I look at this, and $17 million, that's a lot, by all means. But there's bigger houses, or not bigger houses, there's smaller houses, but it's all about real estate where it's at. Like in LA, I'm sure in Beverly Hills, for $17 million would not get you that.
No.
But this is a real castle, and how cool and gorgeous that looks.
So the $17 million, it's, you know, you might be able to afford that up front, but can you afford the maintenance costs on the castle that could become $17 million a year?
And furnishing it, I mean, you can't just have a castle with nothing inside of it.
Sure.
And I would have to have a drawbridge too.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, is the first thing.
I love
if
it.
you're going to have a moat and a drawbridge.
Have you seen the HGTV show Castle Impossible?
No, but it sounds like I
Couple
need
from
to.
America are remodeling a castle in France.
I think I might have seen
so
that.
good.
Yeah, I think I have
yeah,
seen that. And
just
it's
got
taken
renewed.
a while
Yeah,
to
just
build
got
it?
renewed for a second season.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
We are not done with this hour yet. More of today's Trends, tomorrow's Talk, still to come right here. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. Mitch English, Andrea Jackson here with you.
Oh, a young couple moves back to a childhood home only to face threats from new neighbors and uncover the dark secrets of their cul-de-sac. This is today's must-watch series, The Burbs.
At night I can't sleep. I toss and turn, candlesticks at the door.
You must be Rob Fisher's wife. Welcome to Ashfield Place, the safest town in America.
We went from city loft to lawn so fast.
I know living in my parents' house wasn't exactly part of the plan.
I mean, every day is the same thing. These people are crazy.
It's the Burbs, babes.
So what's the deal with that old Victorian house? It's haunted.
There have been whispers of
Murder. Who would move into a murder house?
I did see him in the woods. I'm not sure what he was up to. I had to give him space. I was nude.
in the woods.
I was moonbathing.
House needs a lot of work, but it has good bones.
Who says that? A girl from the suburbs disappears into thin air? He's hiding something.
I think we should investigate.
I feel like Sherlock Holmes. I think if anything, I'd be Sherlock Holmes.
Don't accent privilege this.
You can't just break in. From a legal standpoint, we're not breaking in. Okay, we're walking into an unlocked house.
Investigating a joint for traps.
She keeps asking questions about the house across the street. What'd you tell her? What is there to tell?
Yep, I just peed a little.
Your mind's playing tricks on you.
Well, it's not him we need to be worried about.
You learned that from a podcast?
Oh, no. What's happening?
Which one of us is the murderer? Your face. The safest town in America has a lot of people desperate to leave.
This is the part that gets a little bit complicated.
Aren't small towns just the best?
It is the safest
Safest.
town in America.
What are we doing? Let's go. I think this place is going to grow on you, know.
Okay.
Playing tricks on me.
Could stretch out the movie, I guess, to a series. Sounds like it's a little fun there.
I kind of think they're doing that nowadays. They're kind of taking the, inspiration from movies and turning them into
Well, you're
series.
comfortable with it. You already know the setup makes it easier.
Exactly.
That does it for our show. We hope that you come back and stretch out a whole week with us.
Be
Bye-bye,
good,
y'all.
everybody.